I'm going to begin this drawing, as I do many drawings, with a quick thumbnail sketch. With my thumbnail, I want to establish the overall layout of the hallway and to give me a good idea where everything is going to go. After I have a good idea of what I'm going to do, I'll start fresh with a clean sheet of paper. I've decided to use a ruler on this drawing because I'm going to be doing a lot of detail on the floor tiles, and I want the lines to be pretty accurate or it won't look good when it gets way back in the background. I'll start the drawing by putting in some guidelines. I'll put in the horizon line and the vanishing point. Then I'll draw some lines for the top and bottom of all of my walls. I'll put in some guides for where I want the lockers to be placed. Then I'm going to start working on the floor plane. I want to draw a tiled floor, so I need to start dividing the floor plane up evenly. On a previous video, I showed you how you can divide space by starting Xing a rectangle in perspective. To review that method, we draw lines from corner to corner to create an X in the rectangle. Then we draw a center line back to the vanishing point, and then we draw a line from the corner A through the center line where it intersects the back edge of the rectangle at B. Where it crosses the orthogonal at C, that gives you where the next rectangle will be. In this video, I'm going to show you a different method of dividing space. In this method, called using a diagonal vanishing point, I'll draw a line from one corner of the rectangle through the other corner and extend that line until it intersects with the horizon line. This intersection point is called the diagonal vanishing point. All rectangles with the same dimensions as my starting rectangle will have diagonals that meet at this vanishing point. In order to divide the space evenly, all I have to do is draw a line from the diagonal vanishing point to the back corner of the rectangle at D. Where it crosses the orthogonal at E, that gives me the placement of the next rectangle. We repeat this process to divide up the space all the way down the hall. The diagonal vanishing point and its orthogonals will also give me the placement of the horizontal tiles. Where the diagonal vanishing point intersects with the horizontal at points F and G, that will give me the point where I need to run lines back to the one-point perspective vanishing point. In order to draw the tiles on the right side of the hall, I'll need to extend the lines from my diagonal vanishing point. Where they intersect the horizontals going down the hallway gives me the correct placement for the tiles on that right side. Once I've filled up the right side of the hallway, I can continue the process of dividing space on down the hallway toward the vanishing point. At some point, the horizontal lines become so close together you can stop drawing all your measuring lines and just fill in by hand. The lines should gradually fade out as they get closer to the vanishing point because distant objects appear lighter as they move back in space. Sometimes drawing all of these guidelines can be confusing. It's important to practice this type of drawing many times until you can draw all of the guidelines without really thinking about it. When you get to 2-point perspective, 3-point perspective, and curvilinear perspective, things get even more confusing. So it's important to learn this really well before moving on. With the guidelines for the floor plane drawn in, I'm ready to darken up some of my lines. With the walls and floor plane drawn in, we can now draw guidelines for the ceiling tiles. I'll use the same method using the diagonal vanishing point. First, I'll establish a rectangle that looks about how big I want my ceiling tiles to be. I'll shoot a line that goes through both corners and intersects the horizon line. This will give me my new diagonal vanishing point for all of my ceiling tiles. Using the new diagonal vanishing point, I'll shoot lines from that point to the corner of my rectangle. That gives me my next horizontal going back in space. Then, just rinse and repeat. With the ceiling tiles in, I'm ready to erase all of the guidelines and put in a few details. To draw the lockers, I'll use the first method that I taught you by Xing the space. Using the diagonal vanishing point method would place the diagonal vanishing point off the page. If we did that method, because the lockers are vertical and not horizontal, instead of drawing a line through the corners to the horizon line, we would draw a line through the corners of the locker to the center of vision line. The center of vision line is a line that comes straight down from the 1-point perspective vanishing point. You can see that the diagonal vanishing point would be off the bottom of the page somewhere, which makes the first method of Xing the space more suitable. To divide the lockers using the Xing method, we draw in our first locker. Exit from corner to corner. Draw in our center line to the vanishing point. Then draw that important line from the corner through point H and down to the orthogonal at I. The intersection at I gives us the vertical for the next locker. Then just rinse and repeat. After drawing in the lockers, I'll add a few more details. And then I'll draw some people for scale. I want to place them so that the top of their heads is a little shorter than the top of the lockers. Once I place the head and feet, I'll divide that distance in half to get the placement of the crotch. Then I can draw a torso and legs. I'll draw one person shorter with wider hips and one a little taller with narrower hips to indicate a boy and a girl. That about does it for this drawing. Thanks for watching.